EV sales collapse as manufacturers look back to hybrid and other tech moving forward. It's that time again, and today we're diving into the latest figures for February and see who's hitting it out of the park in the automotive world. We're going to look deep into Honda, Mazda, Subaru, Hyundai, and Kia to break down each model's performance. And hey, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to show your support. Let's get into it. In February, the car market saw a sweet 6% growth. But hey, why the sudden surge, you ask? Well, it's a combo of things, like the demand for cars cooling down a bit and those pesky interest rates riding high. But fear not, automakers are getting crafty with incentives to keep those wheels turning. Now let's talk numbers. Toyota and Honda are stealing the spotlight with some impressive sales jumps. Toyota sales soared by a whopping 16%, while Honda revved up an impressive 32%. But guess what? Toyota's electrified vehicle deliveries shot up a jaw-dropping 84%. Toyota delivered nearly 185,000 vehicles last month. And guess what? Around 68,000 of those featured electrified powertrains. This includes hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and a very limited number of fully electric vehicles. That's more like 30% of their sales coming from electric vehicles. It's worth noting that Toyota is a leader in hybrid technology, and a significant portion of their electric vehicles fall under the hybrid category. This strategy seems to be resonating with customers, especially considering the recent challenges faced by some pure EV companies. But wait, there's more. Toyota's not hitting the brakes anytime soon. With the Camry going full hybrid, they're gunning for at least 40% of their sales to be electrified. And get this, the RAV4 is revving up to go 100% electrified in a year, with hybrids, plug-ins, and even fully electric models hitting the road. And hey, let's not forget Lexus. Their sales zoomed up by a staggering 177%. Both Toyota and Lexus are on fire right now, and it's no wonder with all this electrifying momentum. So what's the big picture here? Well, Toyota's not just selling cars, they're leading the change towards a greener, more electrified future. Imagine a world where over 50% of Toyota's lineup runs on electric power. It's not just a dream, it could be reality sooner than we think. Toyota Prius is making a roaring comeback. Sales of this hybrid marvel skyrocketed by a jaw-dropping 363% in February. And if that doesn't impress you, how about the RAV4 hybrid deliveries leaping up by an astounding 236%, totaling a whopping 20,513 units hitting the road. It's like Toyota's hybrid game is in turbo mode. Let's get a clearer picture. So Automotive News didn't give us the actual volume of Prius sales, just the percentage, but we're diving into some rough estimates here. Last year, Prius sales were down around 40% compared to the previous year, averaging roughly 1,500 units per month in the first quarter. So with that 363% jump, we're looking at around 5,556 units per month, totaling up to 66,000 units for the year. Sure, it's not where Toyota ideally wants to be, but hey, progress is progress. And what about those RAV4 hybrids? Well, they were down by a worrying 50% in 2023 compared to 2022. Toyota's bouncing back stronger than ever. With a 236% jump, they're not just recovering lost ground, they're sprinting past previous records. The RAV4 hybrid is hot on the market, and it seems like everyone wants a piece of the action. But hey, it's not just hybrids stealing the show. The RAV4's overall sales shot up by an impressive 44%, while the Camry cruised ahead with a 7% increase, even with that switcheroo on the horizon. And let's not forget the Corolla, Tundra, and Highlander all flexing their muscles with double-digit increases. The Tacoma's taking a little breather, down 70% due to some redesign hustle down in Mexico. Speaking of the Highlander, combined sales with the Grand Highlander totaled up to 18,969 units. And get this, they're pumping out almost the same amount as last year's Highlanders alone. It's like Toyota's keeping the pace steady, even with some ups and downs in the market. Now, let's talk about inventory. Toyota is sitting pretty with 230,000 vehicles, giving them a 31-day supply. Compare that to a year ago, and they're up by a hefty 100,000 vehicles. Now for Acura, unfortunately, they're hitting a rough patch, with 2 consecutive months in the red. In February alone, their sales dropped by 6%, and overall, they're down a whopping 75% for the year. It's a tough start for them in 2024. On the flip side, Honda is revving up with a 38% increase in sales. Their hybrids are a hot commodity, unlike Acura, who's yet to dip their toes into the electrified market. Could this lack of electrified options be dragging Acura down? It's definitely a possibility worth considering. Now, let's shift gears to Genesis. They're on fire. They just hit a record high for February sales. Hyundai is also cruising along with a solid 6% sales increase. However, Kia is hitting a speed bump with a 3% decline. The disappearance of the Rio from their lineup and a dip in the K5's desirability might be taking a toll on their entry-level models. Mazda isn't slowing down either. They're up 6%, making it a 17% increase for the year. And Subaru? Well, they're holding steady with a 3% rise in sales. However, it seems like the growth rate is starting to ease up a bit. When it comes to champions of the road, Honda, Toyota, and Lexus are leading the pack. Honda in particular is flexing its muscles after enduring a rough patch in 2022 and 2023. They're bouncing back strong. In February, Honda hit a new high with electrified sales, clocking in at a record-breaking 2,681 units. The CR-V stole the spotlight, revving up a staggering 99% increase in hybrid sales, while the HR-V cruised up by 45%. But hold on to your steering wheels because we're just getting started. Now let's talk about hybrids. The HR-V is popping up everywhere. But imagine if it had a hybrid version. That would really kick things into high gear. And hey, the same goes for Honda's entire lineup. It's a bit surprising that they're lacking hybrids in their larger vehicles like the Pilot, Odyssey, Passport, and Ridgeline. Just picture the demand skyrocketing if they added hybrids to those models, especially with the HR-V and Civic gearing up for hybrid versions soon. Despite the absence of hybrids in their larger lineup, Honda's still cruising ahead with double-digit increases compared to January. But here's where it gets interesting. We're going to compare February to February to get the real scoop. Now in 2024, February had an extra selling day thanks to leap year, so keep that in mind when we look at the numbers. Let's break it down by model. The Accord surged ahead by 22%, hitting a solid 14,000 units. And check this out, the Civic roared with a massive 36% increase, and we can't wait for the hybrid version coming this summer. The CR-V stole the show, doubling its sales compared to last February. Meanwhile, the HR-V revved up by 45%, showing its growing popularity. Now onto the individual models. Accord's up by 22% month over month. Civic soaring with a massive 36% increase, and the CR-V is doubling its sales compared to last February. But here's where it gets a bit bumpy. The Odyssey's down by 10%, Passport's dipping by 32%, and the Ridgeline's down by 14%. However, the Pilot is the lone ranger in the large platform category, posting a whopping 33% increase. And let's not forget, the Pilot's still fresh on the scene, rolling into its second model year as we gear up for 2025. Now, switching gears to Acura, things are a bit rocky. The Integra's taken a hard hit, down a whopping 177%. And it's not just the Integra feeling the pinch. The TLX is down 26%, and the MDX, Acura's top seller, is down 22%. That's like a punch in the gut for Acura. On the flip side, the RDX is revving up with a 54% surge in sales, almost overtaking the MDX. But overall, Acura's down 6% for the month, and a painful 10% on the daily selling rate. Looks like Honda's hitting the gas pedal, while Acura's struggling to keep up. As for Mazda, they're cruising with their best ever February, selling a whopping 32,000 vehicles. The CX-50 and CX-30 are stealing the show with record-breaking sales. The Mazda 3 sedan and hatchback are holding their own, up 7%. But hey, the MX-5 Miata's down 44%, likely due to the switchover to the NDR refresh. And check this out, the CX-30's up a whopping 25% with a stellar 36% increase for the year. But what's up with the CX-5? Sales are down 16%, even though it's traditionally been their top seller. Looks like the CX-30 might be gearing up to take the lead. Now let's talk about the CX-9. Rest in peace indeed. But hold on to your seats because the CX-50's up a staggering 73%. It seems like Mazda's focusing on the CX-50, overflooding the market with CX-5. And guess what? I'm hitting the road in a CX-50 this week for a review. Stay tuned for a nighttime special. But wait, what's the deal with the C70 and C7? Are we talking about the CX-70 and the CX-70 plug-in hybrids here? It's like a mystery waiting to be solved. And speaking of mysteries, the CX-90 sales are being outpaced by the CX-9. Now, shifting gears to Subaru. February saw a modest 3% bump in sales, making an impressive streak of 19 consecutive months of year-over-year growth. But hold on to your steering wheel, folks, because there's a bump in the road ahead. Unfortunately, Subaru hit a rough patch with a tragic incident at one of their plants in Japan, resulting in a temporary shutdown. Our hearts go out to the family of the 60-year-old worker who lost his life in a tragic accident. With the plant out of commission for about a week, we might see a dip in Subaru sales volume next month. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's shine a light on the stars of Subaru's lineup. The Forester stole the show with an impressive 48% surge in sales, moving a whopping 14,000 units. Talk about dominating the road. However, not every model in Subaru's lineup is hitting top gear. The Crosstrek took a surprising 15% dip, while the BRZ saw a hefty 33% drop. Ouch. Subaru's Legacy saw a dip of nearly 20%, but the Outback picked up the slack with a solid 14% climb. While Subaru's overall sales are positive, it's mainly thanks to the Forester and Outback, with the rest of the lineup struggling. Now, shifting gears to Hyundai, they hit a record high in February sales with a 6% increase. Their battery electric retail sales surged by an impressive 24%, showcasing Hyundai's electrified momentum. The Ioniq 6 is currently turning heads, promising a game-changing electric ride experience. Meanwhile, the Tucson and Tucson plug-in hybrid are breaking records with significant sales increases. As for Kia, despite an overall dip in performance, their electric vehicle sales jumped by a staggering 65%. The Carnival saw a 48% surge in sales, and a hybrid version is in the pipeline, promising power and efficiency. The Sportage and Forte also saw notable sales boosts. The EV9 sold 1,300 units in February alone, with the EV6 showing potential for growth. However, the Ioniq 6 faced some challenges, with sales limited to Korea for now. Before we sign off, let me ask you this. With the rise of hybrid and other technologies, do you think electric vehicle sales will continue to collapse, or will they make a comeback in the future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to stay updated on all things automotive.